because he may be doing something wrong to you, but he's not making you angry. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that, sir? People can do any nasty thing to you, but who is making you angry is you. So let only one pistol shoot you. Don't use your pistol to shoot you too. That's what his recommendations. So this person who was, standing behind the tree in that door is the son of a great Brahmin. Brahmins are very proud people. They don't want to, when they stick on to one view, they don't want to show that they are, anyway they are, losing it for another view. Brahmanism is one of the great religions that's that time, even today. So, but when they understand that there are certain things are missing, like linking this to that, especially when they become so scholars, they are very educated people, when they find that, they just can't bridge certain things. They look for other teachers, but they don't want to, do it in the society, exposing themselves. Look here, those Brahmins are also now going as students and teachers. So in the dark, he was hiding behind the tree, and Buddha saw him. He said, "Son, please come here and have a sit." So he crawled up to Buddha and had a nice seat. "Do you have a problem, son?" "Yes, Gautama." He was a little bit disrespectful. "I have a question. For very many years I have been traveling around the country asking this question from many teachers. They all gave me answers, but I am not satisfied. I am not happy with them. I am asking you that." "Okay, son, let me hear your question." He's asking, "Gautama, I want true happiness." Okay? So the answer is in your question, son. What? You say answer is in my question itself? Yes, son. What is it? I want true happiness. Son, abandon I. That's ego. Abandon want. That's desire. Then you only left with true happiness. Fair enough. Well, Brahman, so he was a very educated person. He could very easily understand what Buddha said. And he made his complete salutations to Buddha. "Well, sir, I understand that. Take me as one of your devotees hereafter. You are the perfect teacher for the whole world. I have been wasting my whole life looking for this answer. You're the one who gave me the perfect answer. Now I understand. It is the ego and the extreme desires of a person that ruins our true happiness," he said. "So let me see the path to destroy that ego and excessive desires." And the Buddha preached him very nice, simple Dhamma afterwards. And later on the story says he became a noble disciple of Buddha who was teaching, but he asked and what he received that day to a lot of people, many hundreds and thousands of people in India. But unfortunately, after 2600 years, now we have trapped in somewhere where we can't understand what Buddha said. That everything he said that day was entrapped in these 4 verses. Dittincha anupagama silava dassanena sampanno kamesu vinaya gedang nahi jatu gabbaseyan punaretiti. Now the first word is dittincha anupagama, abandoning all wrong views. Can somebody tell me, do we have wrong views, first of all? What do you say, people? Can I hear something? Do we have wrong views?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Yeah?
Yes.
Let me hear one. What is your wrong view?
thinking like somebody me, that idea of having I or me.
Okay.
So that's a wrong view.
What's your wrong view?
Just, I thought that everything is outside, but everything should be inside you.
We just now learned that. Okay. What's your wrong view? So do you have any wrong views?
I have lots of wrong views. I want to control, the illusion of control, that I can control the external, you only control the internal.
Yeah, it controls all internal.
And it's really working with things. I can
It is?
recognize how life works and understand reality, then I work with it rather than control it.
That's called discipline instead, rather than control. We all have certain views about what we see, what we perceive, what we feel, yes. But the point is that why don't we understand that we is whether wrong or right? Because we do not examine. We always, what we do is we compare. We compare our view with another view. What happens if both are wrong views? Then is it justified that when you compare with another view, and when you think that your view is a little bit better, so his view is wrong, my view is right. This is what we do every day, comparing. But this Buddha's teachings takes us to an arena where you don't have to believe anything. Something marvelous about Buddhism, Buddha's teaching is that he never used the word belief. It's fantastic. Because when you are asked to believe, that means I am overpowering you still. You are asked to behave to my norms. You are asked to behave to my conditions, my agreements. So I have imprisoned you within my instructions. Just believe it. When you start believing, that means you don't know. Is that right? Whatever you don't know, you start believing. And if you know, of course you don't have to believe it because you know now. So all the beliefs in this world means that most of the people, they really don't know. So the people's intelligence start questioning. They don't just sit and wait just because this is my religion. They start asking questions. So when they ask questions, there are two ways. Either they answer. If they don't have a good answer, then what they do? They use the force. Then what happens is, they make it religious. When you make something religious, a belief religious, then people are a little bit backward in asking questions. Because they are divine secrets. Your type of idiot would not be able to touch that divine secrets. So you get backward and say, yes sir, believe it. And sometimes you find, people, who cross the borders of this divineness. No way. We just want to ask this question. We need the answer, they say. Okay, fine. Then what will happen is those believers start punishing non-believers. You are not up to mark. You are not one of our guys. Right? You are not supposed to be living in our nest. So they are punishing each other. This is what those guys want. To make a war between you two. So that nobody comes up to ask that question. When we describe Dhamma, it is so beautiful, you see. What we found as the doctrine. He always say, Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo, Sandittiko, Akaliko, all those are qualities of what the doctrine. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo, Sandittiko, Akaliko, Ehipassiko. And some other also, but Ehipassiko is the magic word. Anybody knows what Ehipassiko means?
Come and see, investigate.
Come and see.
Investigate.
Yes, he presents his what he discovered on the global table and asked people not to believe it. Just because I discovered it, just because I said it. They always say, come, listen, means see, and investigate. Then you put it to your life. Test it. If it is working, take it. Not working, leave it. No forcing. So Buddha's teachings never expect one person to convert another. Forceful conversion is not existing in Buddhism. It is up to the whole world, irrespective of the nationality, irrespective of the religion, irrespective of the caste, or whatever. So this is for the whole world, including the humanity. It is for all the other 30 planes of existence. He never invented anything. Yes. He just discovered it. That's why he never took patent rights for what he found. Because he never, it was not his, it was there in the nature, just 2 inches behind our ears. But we were so ignorant that we could not see that. Buddha could. When he found this, the theology of how the karma works, when he found how the nature, the mechanism of nature, how it works, and those reasons and consequences he tabulated very nicely and put to the world's exhibition. Come, listen, see, investigate, put it to your life. And if it works well in your life, take it, otherwise just drop it. Why he says just drop it? Because he's not forcing anybody. One day, the person who drops it right now, and maybe 2 years later, he will come and taste it. Because his panya, wisdom, is not up to mark to understand that. That happens always. So, because there is no anything called belief, in Buddhism it's like, bottomless pit. You investigate, still you cannot find a limit of closing. That is how the reality is. Yatha bhuta jnana. More you find, more you get. When he sets the elementary level base, so that is something that you can't perceive with all those high-tech instruments. Whatever the instrument, that is man-made. When man is making that, he uses his senses, eye, ear, and those senses are the poorest senses in the whole universe. This eye has a capacity of seeing, yes. The ear has a capacity of hearing, and nose has its capacity. In comparison, you can understand how poor we are just by comparing certain qualities of our capacity with certain animal. Probably you have seen lots of animals like cats and dogs. They can hear a lot of things that we can't hear. Is that agreeable?
Yes.
Yeah. And there are, in the animal kingdom, there are a lot of creatures where they can see much far and much broader vision and things that we can't see. So this eye is very weak organ. Very weak. But for our mind, what we see is the only world, only universe. There cannot exist anything more than that. This is what we see. What a poor saving is that? Yes. It has no base at all. So, the Buddha said, if your eye is not enough, if your ear is not enough, your nose and tongue and the contact, this body is not enough, close them. What's the point in using all those big tools, which is not capable of captivating what is there as the reality? And there is one instrument you already have where you have not used, never used in the samsara. What is that? Mind. And he introduced insight meditation to the whole world. This is how you can make your mind the best instrument, best tool to look at the reality, look at the elementary nature of the nature. So I remember in one of the Sri Lankan university, I was giving a talk about, it was, department heads were there in the audience, so it was very challenging for a monk like me, because I was introduced to those high-tech people as a monk who's meditating in one of the forest cave, and actually they expected certain wonders from me, like flying in the sky and reading minds. The topic was given to me there itself, so I had no way of preparing myself for that. It was probably the most difficult topic I was given, the mind and the gravitation. But I started talking to them. Normally in that auditorium, all the talks are limited for 1 hour. But when I stopped with 1 hour, they said, okay, Bhante, talk, we want to listen. And it was finally 2.5 hours. And Q&A time went another 1.5 hours. They were so curious. So one of the very senior professors stood up to say that, Bhante, it's so fascinating, but I'm sorry to tell you that I don't believe a word that you said in these 2.5 hours. I said, fine. And also further he said, I'm amazed with so much of things that you have said, which we have not even said, the most modern memorandums and the articles that is being published in the modern physics. It's surprising. A monk who's meditating in a cave, how can they pursue such modern things? Things that we have talked about, this especially physics, it's been not even been informed to these professors. Then he asked me, how can that be possible? I said, all these days we have been learning in university to use our faculties, to measure things, to describe things. This is exactly the path we follow too. But as a monk now, when you start meditating, what you do is you close all those faculties and you open your mind. You will see the beauty and the capacity and the visibility of the mind only when you open it up. It is such that more you do that, more you done in a repeated version, what you can catch with the mind is enormous. And when you open your eyes again, when you come to this ordinary world, you take one decision, either to express these to people who don't believe it, or to keep your mouth shut. So I said, this is the time I open what I saw. I opened my mouth to tell you that what I saw during meditation. That was the insight meditation. During insight meditation, you calm your mind down and come to a stage that it is so versatile, so things, so powerful. Then moment you willfully focus your attention to certain thing, what you want to resolve, and it penetrates the subject. So anybody can do that. What Buddha experienced can be experienced by everyone. He never had secrets with him. What he knew can be known by anyone. But every one of we have to do what he did. That is something we don't like. We just want to sit in a nice comfortable sometimes we have suggestion to ask Buddha, why don't you put all those on the internet so that we can go through the internet and know. Right? This is something, you can't just do that. This is all personal experience. So when it comes to views, he showed us the reality, yathabhuta jnana, that the biggest wrong view a person has is those capital I. Who are you? Who are you? Come on. biggest universal problem today is I. Do we know who I am? Do we? Yeah, we think there is a person. Yes? In West they call it soul. In India they call it Atman. In Europe they call it self. Right? So, I don't know what they call in Sri Lanka, they call Mama. So, the whole of Buddhist teaching primarily solving the problem of I. So the Buddha says, whatever you see as a solid person, solid things outside, from I, from here, those voices, noises, and those smells, odors and contacts, feelings are generated by energies. When we call Rupa, that is formations, formations are the combination of 28 energies. Those 28 individual energy does its own part, just like our body. The heart muscle doesn't know what the lungs does. The lungs, they are doing another piece of work, and this has another piece of work, and the brain has another piece of work. So they have their own piece of work duty, and combined together we call it a human body. But if you tap and ask the heart muscles, do you know what's happening outside? Sorry, I don't know. What I am doing 78 years is pumping. I am the pump. You tap and ask from the kidneys, do you know what's happening outside? No, I don't know. What I know is that what I am doing. They are much more noble than us. Because if you tap one of the human and ask, do you know what's happening? Yes, I know what's happening in Sri Lanka. I know what's happening globally. I know what's happening just outside our solar system. Do you know what's happening within you? No, that I don't know. So your body parts are much more noble in that way, yes? So wrong view is I. So he split these I's to Nama, that is formation and the mental energies, yes? I mean, in simple version we can call body and mind. And this body and mind, he split into many versions. So finally he come to a conclusion where those are combination of 5 aggregates. What 5 aggregates? What we see here or smell, they are called all rupas. Rupa means formations. Formations are in 28 categories. Always rupa consists of those 28 categories, 28 individual activities. Activity. So when we feel this, we have certain names for these, but primarily what we feel is the roughness, toughness. So that is the activity of Patavi. That is the base element. Patavi is not a material, it is not a solid thing, it's an energy. The characteristic of that energy is giving out roughness and toughness. Then that is Patavi. Apo. Apo is another type of energy. What it does is really, it connects things together. It connects energies together. Its mission is that. So whether it is this or that, its paramount duty is to combine things together, to keep things together. You can imagine if this particular energy is not there in the universe. So you cut off all those links that have been, connected things together, and this will learn complete explosion. That is Apo. Vayu is actually expanding things together. They are keeping things apart. So now you will understand the whole universe, and you and me is a balance imposed between Apo and Vayu. You agree with that? Yeah? Apo try to, combine them together, and Vayu repels them together so that you are placed in the place that you really want you to be kept. And any imbalance in that create the sort of discrimination in the nature. Turbulences we can call them, tsunamis we can call them, floods and hurricanes, you name whatever. Those are the imbalances of nature, those forces. Right? It's a beauty that you can name those disasters. but name is very sweet, but the diseases are not very sweet. And modern science will also give rise to say, okay, this is the relative motion of those slides or whatever. But this is their knowledge. The science is a half-finished journey always. Whatever they said 10 years ago, they don't repeat it. They said, oh, we have a little modification for that. Now the truth is this. And how about another 10 years' time? They have another new truth. Every time they say something, they say always this is absolute truth. If this is the absolute truth, then you stop all the experiments. But they still, because they know this is half-known thing. So if you ask me, I will call the science, it's a complete lie. Why it is lie? Because it's asked all the people to accept it as the truth. It's good for science to be silent and kept on doing researches and experiments until one day they will find the truth. But finally, people have their skills to manipulate with this untruth or half truth for the comfort and the ease of the people, so then they can work with it. Yeah, you don't have to know about what water is, but you can make lots of products with water. As far as people are happy with products, they are not bothered about what it is. But in this elemental basis, the Buddha explains very nicely what kind of a construction is this I. So formations are like that. And also when it comes to the mental energies, and he says thoughts and consciousness, thoughts and mind. So the whole world is perceived through faculties, for those senses, as feelings. And feelings are converted into perceptions. Perceptions are sort of like volitions, activities with willingness activities, and that create karma and the consequences immediately. The whole process is being known by the consciousness. So it is a complete independent process. Just to prove this, can you spend 2 minutes in breathing meditation? Can you everybody set yourself into a proper position so that nothing irritating, nothing touching, and I'm only taking 3 minutes, but we are going to, go into certain facts that we have not thought before. So let me ring this like the ball, and with that noise, you try to concentrate onto the noise, please. Please start breathing with a noise. With a noise that you should feel that breath goes in through the pipe to the lungs. And coming back through your nostrils, let it make a little noise so that it can collect your mind. Try to feel the track of how the wind flows through. Try to track it up to the lungs, and when it is coming out, try to track it just up to the outside. Now you can stop the noise and let the breathing happens. Let the breathing happens. You are not breathing anymore, but it happens. You just watch what is happening there. Now you'll understand that even it happens without your effort. It is a combined operation of the air and the lungs. You will feel that your chest is, pumping out and shrinking down. It happens. Because now your mind is little focused and almost close to one-pointedness, it's so calm. Whatever you investigate by your mind is going to be very, very powerful. Please take yourself up to the very first moment where you were born to your mother. So the very first moment where you have been coming out of the mother's womb. Here you will say the breath starts. As such infant, you never wanted your mom to give this breath to you. You never wanted anybody outside or doctor to give this breath to you. The moment you are coming to this world, it has already been with you. It comes to your life without a will, without a wish, without a request. So it started happening with you. And you don't know whether it is happening or not, but it's still happening. So please fast forward your life 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Now you are very old, lying on the deathbed, spending few last moments of your 8 years of life. You see, now in 10 seconds you're gone. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breath stops. You are dead. So these last 10 seconds, how much you wanted this breath to happen in your life more and more. You wanted it. You wished for that. It was your will that the breath should sustain with you. But it won't listen to you. It stops. So you see people, it comes to their life without invitation, without a will, and it leaves this life against our will, against all our requests. There is a clear indication that breath doesn't belong to us. It belongs to the nature. It's not yours. So is it right for us to say, I am breathing? this is my breath. That's all wrong views. So you can slowly open your eyes. Yes. Now these 3-4 minutes understanding about the nature of the breath and the connection this breath has to us is obvious. The breath doesn't belong to us. It just happens with us. So, another linear equation is that as far as this breath happens with this so-called body, we call that we are alive. When it stops, we call we are dead. So, all those body organs functioning, blood, everything is functioning as far as this breath is there. All stops with the breath. That means the Buddha says, whatever these so-called inside operations of this so-called body is actually directly connected to the breath. It is not possible for somebody to individually experiment with all those functions because there are billions of functions. Function of one cell is different to the other. So we have 300 billions of cells in one body. So it's not possible to go through all of this. Rather, he says, it is the same characteristics that the breath has because it's connected. So you better inspect the breath. So now we understand that the breath is something independent of us, not belongs to us. How can you say that body or body parts, so all those operations are mine? That also belongs to the nature. It's happening. It doesn't need you. The power of karma that is given to you at the birth will decide how many years or how many months or days that the heart muscle should work, or the stomach should work, or the brain should work, all the body parts and the cells. But there is something very unique there. In those 300 billion cells of your body, every cell has a software. We call it genetics. That software is being embedded into every cell so that it represents the general characteristics of all the organs, all the cells. So is the breath. When we understand breath is independent, it doesn't belong to us, so are everything, all the cells, all the operations are there. So we call the body or the mind or me is anatta. Anatta means no self. We just cannot say it is me or I or mine. Can we? No, because it happens individually. It will start the day they want to and stops the day they want to. They will fall sick when they want to. We just can't decide that. We can't poke in that business. We only can help them because our desire. So he's solving the very first problem. I mean, this is a very deep subject, but what I did was I introduced this to you in the most simplest form that I can. So, very first, he wanted us to remove our wrong view about I. Never call I. Because if you go into this wrong view and you call this as I, what happens is it promotes two other nasty things in your mind. One thing is ego, one thing is the craving. Because this ego and the craving is those two soldiers safeguarding what is called I. When why, if to your acceptance is the reality, then you have to accept both those two nasty soldiers as the reality, ego and the craving. Because unfortunately, ego and the craving is the two factors that put ourselves, if you believe that there is a self, into so much of misery, so much of pain, so much of suffering, so much of loss of expectations. All those sadness, unhappiness and griefs and all those crying, weeping, everything happens just because these two things. So you see, on the wrong view, arises, ego, and the craving. Then we will see how these two come to operation to put you in the misery. Dittincha anupagama, moment you withdraw the wrong view, abandon the wrong view, when you come to understanding, then dittincha anupagama silava. Then you become virtuous, morally correct. Then it is a problem when you, for example, today it's our seal day, yes, precepts day. You come here and try to observe 8 precepts. So who did it today? It was whose seal?
My mind.
Yes, we always say, I came here to observe seal. Then again this comes in the wrong way, isn't it? If we understand that there is no self, how can that no self come and take precepts? You see? When you apply the wrong view to anything, it becomes wrong. If you have some bitterness, when you put a drop of that bitterness to milk, tea, whatever, everything becomes bitter. So when we say Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vacha, all those 8 things in the eightfold noble path, does everything happen? Everything becomes Samma when only have the Samma Ditti. But if you have a Miccha Ditti called I, Miccha Sankappa, Miccha Vacha, Miccha, you don't know, everything happens under that topic. So even when it comes to Sil or Sila or virtues, that also has to come like Samma. There is no person observing Sil. Yes? How difficult for us to, remove our wrong view to come to that stage of right view. So this, whatever the precepts that you observe has to come under the topic of non-self, right view. You understand what I see? That kind of a precepts the Buddha is talking about. Then every time you say, Mama sil ganwa, that's under a wrong view. Then Dasanena Sampanno. What is Dasanena Sampanno is seeing the reality. What is the reality? Reality is there is no I. That is the first reality. The second reality is that what is I? Is 5 aggregates: formations, feelings, perception, volition, and consciousness. The point is that we have the great desires. There is a bond between these two, Rupa and Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana, all those 5 things, aggregates has been claimed to be mine. Now you say there is no one pack called I, but still you say, this is my Rupa, this is my Vedana, this is my Sanya, my Sankara. Again we say, this is mine. But let me explain you in just few minutes that what we call upadana, right? So the word here they use is craving. Actually craving is not upadana.
Clinging.
Huh?
Clinging.
What's it?
Clinging.
Clinging?
Yeah.
Yeah. We really have to understand. It's something like this, I prefer a cup of tea now. Is it upadana?
It's craving.
I'm asking somebody, can you make me a nice cup of tea? What do you call it?
It is
Craving.
That's also a desire, isn't it?
It is a desire and craving.
So where do you limit the desire? I say I want a BMW.
That's very big craving.
Now you see, we can't fence it. We can't make boundaries. We can't, draw rules saying that within this should be craving. Do we have another word for that? I want to get married as a monk. I said. What do you see this as?
This is breaking the seal.
Yeah, I see the desire. Is it a desire? Oh, extreme desire? Is it a craving? Or is it a clinging? What?
It's craving.
This is exactly what Buddha is trying to say. Kamesu vinaya gedham. He is asking us to separate from something. Gedham. Understand it very clearly. Kamesu means desires. Desires are innocent. Remember this. I don't know what kind of vibration when you hear, especially from being Americans, this desires, what kind of vibration you have in your heart when we say that? Yes, desire? I want. Do you call, when I say I want, it's a big crime? Yeah, I mean, to live a life you need a lot of things, yes? Yes, I want to eat, I want to drink, I want dresses, I want a house. Do you call it craving? Yeah, that's because we have never, gone through this. We were just fighting with words. No, not that we are experimenting with idea. We are always fighting with words. Desires, as far as they fall under your needs, are so innocent. They don't do any harm to you. If it is doing harm, then you must complain. We are living in such a big place, a temple, with heaters and ACs on, luxury beds, marvelous food. So do you think that, we will get rid of all those desires one day? No, needs are needs. Although it comes under the category of desires are not crimes really. It is just like this. Can I give you a small example? I'll probably say it's a bad example. When you drive a car, I'm talking about a young guy who drives a car at 60 miles an hour on the road. Not this road, because this road you don't see people walking. I'm just talking about another road, maybe village road. You see a very nice, he sees a nice girl walking by. He's going passing. When you look at him, is it a crime?
It is a desire.
Yeah, it's kind of a desire, because I wanted to look at her, I just did it. Fine. Do you think it's a crime? Just looking at, not your husband, I'm not talking about your husband, a boy, just looking at a pretty lady walking by. Yeah? No, it's just a human thing, very innocent. Yeah. Well, then he has a little more desire to look at her from the side mirror. She has just gone passing by. You can't see with your eyes. Now you look into the side mirror. What do you say? Is it a crime? What kind of a desire is that in comparison to the previous desire?
A little bit more.
Yeah?
Non-stop desire.
Non-stop. Yeah.
So you are confused, is it? Okay.
Clinging.
I'm taking you to another stage.
It is like clinging to that.
Okay. Wait a little until I tell you the next stage. Now she's disappeared from the side mirror. Now naturally he will take her to the center mirror. Still seeing that. What kind of a desire is that? Is it bad? Is it a crime? Somebody will say yes, somebody will say no. Because we have no real definition for what is wrong and what is right. Yes? Okay, now she has disappeared from the center mirror. But it happens that you take a U-turn. What do you call it? Is it a desire that you want to call it a crime? You want to call it very bad? And what is it?
It
Clinging?
is craving.
Sorry?
It is craving.
Now you for the first one also you said craving. So what is
Desire
craving?
That desire and to keep that desire is craving, seems.
So where do you stop? Where do you draw the line? Okay, now you have take a U-turn and she's walking and you are passing by and you just look at her completely. Now I saw her. But now seeing the whole body, whole walk, the appearance, now it is a problem. You just can't forget her. So okay, you again take a U-turn and you go to work. But now in the work, in the night, on the bed, you are just looking, I'm thinking about her. And you know what time that I saw her, because the next day also you try to go in the same time, pass in the same place. Well, you are so lucky because you see her walking. right? Everything is fine. You take a U-turn, look at her again, and 3-4 times after you decide to talk to her. And it's okay. So having a desire to talk to her, is it a crime? Where do you draw a line? Is it bad or is it good? You see, you're confused. You don't know how to draw a line. You call it craving, you call it clinging. What do you call it? Okay, fine. I'll let you study that furthermore. And one day, you talk to her, it looks pretty, and understand she doesn't have a boyfriend. Yes, fine, she's vacant. And one day, she's such pretty that you decide to own her. And you propose to, give her a marriage proposal. I'd like to get married to you. Would you? Okay, no problem. Fine that the marriages that happens. So, from the boy's point of view, you have owned a pretty girl. Ownership is now there. Legally owned. It's like legally owning a car. Right? Now, that's my wife. Is that okay?
Sure.
Is it a crime?
No.
Taking her to under your shelter and call her my wife? Is it craving?
It's attachment. It is like attachment.
Now you call it, put it another name, attachment. What do you call the previous one? You see? Now you come to a day where you find yourself that I can't just live without her. What do you call that?
Problem.
Yeah, you call it problem, and some people call it an addiction. I am addicted to her because now that's my life, that's her. Then where do you draw the line where the right ends and the wrong starts?
It's a relative thing.
No, don't try to be very cunning and sweet from the problem. You should be able to draw the line where you think the wrong starts. Do you have any idea?
When the day that
How do
we
you draw the
decided-
line?
I don't know if there is one. I think it's the whole thing. I don't know if there is a line anywhere. It's just one whole thing.
It's you are going to bracket the whole thing?
Yeah.
So taking her to looking at her is wrong?
No, I wouldn't say anything is wrong or right.
So you put the right brackets and take everything, the whole story into that, yes? Okay, fine. This is, sorry?
the time we decided to own her, to have the ownership.
That is where the wrong, so you
It's
are
not wrong, but that's what I would think that goes wrong.
Yeah. So listen what Buddha has to say. So desires are very genuine and innocent emotions that is arising in your mind. As far as that comes and ends up with your needs, that's fine. Sometimes it crosses the line from need to greed. That is where you should find how to draw the line. So in Pali we call kama means kamatika. Then it aggravates into a even more stronger emotion. A kamatika antimata ආශාවනේ. ආශාවලට පාලියෙන් කියන්නේ නන්දි. ඊට පස්සේ මේ ආශාව තණ්හා බවට පත් වෙන්නේ the day that you want to own. It is not enough for me to just to see and talk. Now I just want to bring her to my home and keep it under my. But you will find that, as far as you don't own her, you had all the liberty and time to talk to her and enjoy your conversation and going here and there, walk into theatres and movies, fine. But after ownership, you don't do anything like that. Yeah. The whole beautiful fairy tale finishes at the marriage. Is it so? Now because, I don't have to exert so much of time because now it is mine. That is where the crime starts. Yeah? Buddha call it tanha. Tanha is the day that you want to own. And it becomes upadana, clinging, the day that you think that you can't live without that. So when we, under the view of that there is an I or a person, then we have a hidden motive, hidden thinking, very strong one, thinking that I just cannot live with this body. I just cannot live with formations, cannot live without feelings, cannot live without sanya, perception, cannot live without consciousness, like that. So you have heavily bonded to all those parts. Then you are not prepared to live this. You are not prepared to live the view. So kamesu vinaya geda, geda means gijukama, to have it again and again. That is where I should be very, very careful. Having desires for needs is okay. But what is wrong with that is if you want to have it again and again, then you are crossing the boundary. Yes? It is very simply understood in your life. If you eat an ice cream, and if you think that, son, we are going to eat it tomorrow too, then you are crossing the boundary. Yeah? Kamesu vinaya geda. Vinaya means separate from that kind of a situation. So separate from the ideology of having some sensual karma to have it again and again. So that will be enough for you to be a purified being. So every liking happening in your mind is not a crime. It doesn't obstruct you on the path, as far as those are falling under the needs. Anything over that. So tanha is understood. That is the day they want to own thing. And the upadana is understood. That is the time that just you think that you just can't live without that. Maybe smoking, maybe something else. So that is upadana. Even the dog, the pet dog at your home, if you think he is more important than your children, and if you think you can't go here and there without him, and you're always thinking about him when you are away from home, then you have to cling to that dog also. That is how it becomes very bad. So you should develop certain character within you. It is not only my dog. I have the sympathy and the compassion for all the dogs I meet on the road. So give it that. So rather than owning a dog, try to be compassionate for all the dogs you meet on the road. That's much more noble. So owning is tanha. Thinking that I can't live without the dog is upadana, clinging. That is extremely bad. Yeah? So what Buddha says is that if you're under that opinion, what will happen is at the last moment of your day, life, when the death is in the vicinity of occurrence, those things that you thought that you can't live without, that will come on to as the subjects. The last thoughts processes. Taking a dog as the subject of your last thought is so miserable. It will take you to another becoming, where you only think like a dog. You think or behave like a dog. There are existences like that. That is how that dog became. Yes? So this is what we should be refrained from, abandon, to have certain things again and again in your life. Kamesu vinaya geda. When you do that, so three things. First thing as the self. If you can understand what do we call I, in formations of all those components, physical energy converted to mental energy, it is the natural process that is been happening and full by karma and three other factors. So it is not nice for us to say that is I. On the conventional world, of course, you can do lots of dealing, say that I, but we have to understand the reality behind the curtains. Know that. I can tell you something, a small story, I won't take much long. Before I came here, I was dwelling in one of the forest monasteries, very thick forest. We had limited access to go out, actually 2 kilometers to walk to the nearest place where a three-wheeler can come. So I had a stomach problem. I felt always it's bloating and severe pain inside. And I bore it for about 2 months, and there was a point that it was no more. With me, it was like, I felt like it was bursting my stomach. Then I went up to the high priest and told him. So he called one of the person, and he came and saw me, and he said immediately, you better go to Colombo, don't come here, because in the Colombo hospitals there are consultants who could, this is something serious, he said. So I ignored it but I was invited for another Dhamma talk. That was in Colombo. They took me there, and it was all doctors in the audience. So they saw my uncomfortableness, and finally they said, you have a problem? I said, yes. What is it? I said, I have bloated stomach, so there is something going on there. Then they took me immediately they took me to the hospital, and immediately they wanted me to do what do you think? You put a camera inside?
Gastroscopy.
Endoscopy, yes.
Endoscopy.
They did an endoscopy, and I was with my bowl and with this robe, and those doctors, they were discussing around my table. They were looking at the screen, and they were telling that, well, I see, it looks to me like cancers. Two things. One is bleeding actually. They confirmed those 2 cancers within stomach. So when they thought, I couldn't understand English, so they were talking in English. So then I was experimenting with my heart. I was inspecting my feelings, my thoughts, whether how I felt. It was surprising that, I didn't feel anything. Having listened to what they say, and truly, it didn't make me any sadness or any disturbance between me. So they say, okay, can you come back in 2 weeks? We will get the report ready for you. I said, okay. And I came back to the monastery, but I didn't go after that. And I told this to the high priest, and he told me, and he said 3 times, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And he asked me a question, what if this report says that you don't have a cancer? Would you be happy? Then I thought about a moment and said, no, Bhante, I don't think I will be happy. Because I was not sad or unhappy when I heard that I have cancer. So my thinking was that it came without my will. If you want to stay, it will. If it happens to go, it will. I just have to live. Yeah. And 2 weeks before I came here, and they inspected me again with the same endoscopy, and they said both cancers have all disappeared. So even with that news, I'm not disturbed. Because when you come to you strongly get yourself embedded into the idea in the right way that there is no self, everything is given to you from the nature, and the nature will look after that. It will do whatever it wants. So we only can keep it clean in the proper order, or help with food and medicine. That's the only thing you can do, but it doesn't give you a guarantee that everything will be okay. Everything is not okay within you. So when you really come into the understanding of this, what will happen is you become a person who won't get disturbed by what is happening to you. Yeah? That means by eating, you don't become happy. By not eating, you don't become unhappy. Because you will understand, this is not your business. It is the nature's business. So with the right view, when you become that right, the virtues based on right view, plus, and you come to the knowledge of the reality, Tasnena Sambhana, and whatever the desires, if you have abandoned the habit of having it again and again, then that is a guarantee that, in the next birth, there is no guarantee about you will be born again. That's fine. That's called bliss of Nibbana. Oh, that is the last. The first one will be what we call Sotapanna. So surely you will die and will be reborn, but only 7 times within these 7. And you will develop within you the knowledge and the wisdom of getting rid of this samsara again and again. So you don't need teachers after that. That knowledge you had will help you to understand it further, to practice further. So leaving this body away, giving it back to where it came from, to the nature. So there's no person who's suffering. Yeah. So this Buddhist teaching is not giving the bliss after your death, it is giving the bliss right now itself. It is asking you to come to the correct terms of the reality, having the proper and correct view within you. So thank you very much. So before I end up, 621, I'd like to have some comments from you. I like to get my first comment from my former teacher, Professor Thero.
About the sermon today,
Yes.
yeah, you got us to think, especially the desire thing, to draw a line, but need become a desire, then desire, it goes on like this, it's difficult to define, really. Which one leads to Vadana, you want to have it, it's a nice example you gave, to a woman.
Okay, what is the overall conclusion? So from the whole, what kind of...
The thing is, the feeling that there is a person alive, that's, that is the root cause of all these problems.
Yes. Can I ask you your comments? Yes.
So from a Westerner who's been practicing only 5 years, and I started as secular meditation. The non-self concept is more difficult teaching, but listening to your discourse helped me some. I've read some books and I've also listened to discourse, but always it's difficult to grasp non-self, I think. Use the term I right there.
Yeah. It is difficult. It is not easy. It is difficult. But this difficulty can be overcome only by practicing the selfless nature. So moment you do that, moment you will understand that the price that you have given to me as a self is coming down. You can't put it in the stock market. Yeah. Your comment? You?
It's as I said before, Bhante, it's much deeper knowledge, but you gave it in a way that we all could understand and keep it in our minds that it's not I, just day-to-day life.
Finally, can we come to the conclusion of the first story where Buddha talked to a Brahman son? Son, abandon desires.
Yes.
Then you will see
And
the
don't
true
worry
happiness.
about the what will come, and it's just as you said, you didn't invite
the breath to come to your life,
so
and it will only say cherry. It will never say cherry also. But why we go vanish? Yes. What do you say? Mrs. Your comments? No.
Yeah, I understand it's difficult thing, I mean, as he said, just the non-self takes time for it.
But you'll have to keep on trying to understand it. If you stop, then you will stop understanding it. Yes. And yours? The front. Man, you.
I think I am trying to find this I. this I. Still, because of the very wandering mind, always kind of wandering, one after the other, going thoughts, process everywhere. So I couldn't clearly identify this I yet. So I'm still trying.
So the last verses of the Karani Metta Sutra, have you ever knew that it has such a deep meaning? We were just chanting like Sutra, that's all.
I have read it, but I didn't have that type of like really depth into it as today.
Okay. What's your comments on this today's talk, sir? Yes.
A little bit more of an understanding of removing the I. I think the way that you put it clarified a lot of things in a easier way to understand and grasp. And I think the biggest was the removing of the I, and the example of the breathing meditation with the lack of control.
Lack of control.
This
Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
It was a great talk and all the blessings to you. And I wish I can practice with this I myself and me without those things. And,
But it's hard, really hard.
and also the counting that you did from after end of the meditation.
You took you to real frightening state?
No, nothing.
Very good.
I didn't feel anything. So you said you are dead now. So I didn't feel anything.
You felt you are still alive?
Yes, I had my breath. So
Yeah, that makes you not frightened. Okay. To you, are you a newcomer to this kind of talk? So you've been practicing this earlier?
I just prefer to observe if that's okay with you.
Okay.
I don't really have much to say.
Okay. How about you?
It's good recognizing that this is all a natural process and impersonal, that it's just a disparate set of events, and that if you recognize the nature of things and what they really consist of, then you'll have a little bit more peace in your life instead of trying to change things to the way things really are. That it's just all one long natural process, and things will be as they are. That's it, just finding a little peace with the level of control it is earlier that you really have, which is really just, stilling self and being at peace with the way things are.
Thank you very much. So, it's a little more time has gone. So, shall we say all make our salutations to the Buddha for giving us such noble teachings, and we will chant together the last the gatha of Karani Metta Sutta. Dittincha anupadamma sīla dasanena sampanno kāmesu vinaya gedam ahijātu gabba seyam punareti. And may all those merits that we have generated be shared with deities and dead ones, and also it's been shared by people who didn't come here, and the people who stayed at home, providing you to all the facilities to come here, and the monks here, and our Sankicha Mahathirunansi, plus other monks who facilitated this event, who gave us all the accommodations and the grants, and people who really, when you want to focus somebody to get this merit shared, please do that. And all of those who share these merits must see the happiness and the bliss of Nibbana in the very life. That's our only wish. Thank you so much. Have a nice
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Bhante. Thank you. That's a great, wonderful Dhamma talk. I hope you all will get opportunity to go into some deeper level of the Dhamma as we all talk about these topics most of the time here. It was a great opportunity. So thank you very much, Bhante. So as we happen to accumulate lots of merits within these days, and I want to invite you all to come for the tomorrow evening Dhamma discussion here at 7:30. It is our regular Tripitaka Sutta discussion day, Monday at 7:30. So you are welcome, and I want to thank Bhante and especially thank our Professor Tilakaratne for introducing this wonderful monk to us, to our temple and congregation, to share the Dhamma with us. So as you heard, he was a former student of Professor Tilakaratne. So we are very happy and honored to have him even for a short time with us. So let's wish our Bhante also good health and long life, and all the strength for him to serve the world, serve the society, people with the great teachings of the Buddha, and even all these merits be with his departed parents, and be with his great monastic teachers and friends. Thank you very much. And those who wish to make any donations, we have a place for that in the front. That's for Bhante. So thank you very much for coming. Have a pleasant evening.